Hi, this is Brian Otten, Marketing Director with the Greater Wausau Chamber of Commerce. I'm behind the camera today, and we are continuing with our interviews with finalists in our 2024 ATHENA Leadership Awards. This afternoon, we are joined, or I guess it's not quite afternoon yet, we're almost there. This morning, we're joined by Olivia Hill, who was the 2022 recipient of the ATHENA Leadership Award in the Young Professionals category, and one of the finalists for 2024, Nicole Johnson, who's a finalist for that same award. We are live from the Nicolet Bank brand new location, which opens on Monday on the west side of Wausau. And Olivia, I'm going to let you and Nicole take it away.
Great, thanks, Brian. I guess so. To start, Nicole, thank you so much for coming. Thanks for making the time here and inviting us to this beautiful space.
Absolutely,
it's really wonderful.
I was excited you guys got a little sneak preview, so it's definitely something to see in person.
Yes, indeed. And I guess to start off, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So Nicole Johnson. I've been with Nicolet Bank about 5 years so far, but I live in Merrill, actually, not Wausau, but been in central Wisconsin for about 20 years, so not necessarily new to the area, but I am an implant. I have a 16-year-old daughter, Abby, so she has a lot of fun, a lot of spunk, which is great. But Nicolet Bank, I am the regional manager here, so I oversee 7 locations between Stevens Point up through Eagle River kind of area. But obviously, brand new facility. I'll be spending quite a bit of time here in this market, but I work with the retail team here, so helping out with the branch managers, the bankers, the tellers, and the community, of course. Yeah. So about 17 years in banking, started as a part-time teller at a credit union back in the day, and 17 years later, lots of different roles and responsibilities, but definitely love banking.
Yeah, excellent. And it really kind of, and we'll dive into this a little bit more, but it seems like being in all of those roles also gives you a really great idea of how the business functions and being in all the different areas and the roles and things you need to oversee. So
yeah, I don't think people have quite an understanding of how robust the roles in banking are. You know, it's not just the loan officers and the tellers. It's, you know, the IT and the compliance and the human resources, and there's just so much room for growth and expansion if you want an industry that you can really focus on.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Well, I'm gonna start with my first question here. Can you share an example of a time that you advocated fiercely for yourself or another person or a cause?
Sure. So I would say one of my biggest passions in my day-to-day role at work and my day-to-day life is really young professionals and coaching. So I spend a lot of time working with my team. So I'll give you kind of a personal example and then a work example too. So definitely a fierce advocate for my team. I have about 55 people who report up through me, and any one of them who has something that's important to them, or they want to grow in their roles, or they tell me they want to sit in my seat someday, like, how can I get you there? I want to work with them to grow themselves in personal matters, professional, however I can help people. So I would say my staff is definitely my biggest thing I advocate for on a day-to-day basis. But as far as causes outside to relate that, very involved throughout my career in young professional initiatives, helped to form a young professional program within the credit union system for the state of Wisconsin when I was involved in credit unions, advocated for other institutions to start their own young professional groups, just because there is so much succession planning that needs to happen in banking, and a lot of the leadership, is retiring and getting older. So I've had some great leaders, kind of help elevate me throughout my career. And if I can pass that on to somebody else and help somebody get to where they want to go, definitely want to help with that. But also extending it to the community too. I've been a big advocate, in the Merrill community. I know Merrill works with the Wausau Chamber on young professional initiatives, and that's something I'm really passionate about, and helped to facilitate that also through my Rotary Club when I first joined that.
Excellent. It's really interesting. I really love the excitement that you have for young professionals. And you answered the question already, but as I was listening, I was wondering, what is it about the young professionals that really just get the spark going for you? Because you seem so passionate about it, such a great focus.
I think a lot of times there's a bit of a misconception on younger people. Not all millennials are entitled or, have, certain things that they want it to happen here and they want it to happen now. They just maybe don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
So if you can help to advocate or teach somebody how to go about getting there for themselves, and you can see that thing click with them where they get it, or you find that one thing that they can connect to that they're really passionate about, to get that spark going with them to do more in their communities, or to get out there and help other people and to become a servant leader themselves. I think that is what really is exciting for me, just because, like I said, I've had great leaders in my past. Everybody's had great ones and bad ones, and you take a little bit of both of those experiences and you wrap them together, and you make it your own. So it's just really helping to engage people to realize, like, I get you. You're doing a good job. How can we get you where you want to be? So.
That's great. I feel like you have a little bit of a teacher inside of you too. That is really great.
I love the coaching stuff. Yeah.
That's great. Can you share an example of how you've acted courageously at some point in the past, recent?
Sure. I was trying to think about this earlier. So I've one that's a little bit funnier, I guess. But first, I would say, I really am passionate about community and involvement. That's something that I had instilled in me, I think probably very early on. My grandparents, were really involved in community things, and I learned a lot from them, how to just really treat other people and how to just try to be a good human. So I had a leadership role that, was a very comfortable role. It was very fun and engaging, and I felt fulfilled in it, but I didn't fully connect on the personal values of that role within that company or that organization. And it got to the point where I had to make the decision to go where I felt like I could be more effective. So it was more of a thing for myself, I guess, at that point, but how I was not engaging enough with my community was leaving that kind of void. So I had to just take the leap and get back to my roots of, being a positive influence and having an actual impact. So that would be kind of my personal one. But more on the organization side, the volunteer side, I thought of something kind of funny. For Rotary, we had an event one time and our auctioneer did not show up. So I got voluntold that I was going to be the auctioneer for a live auction at this banquet, and I'm up there in this like red heels and a dress, and I started it off, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not an auctioneer, so I said, this is the best I can do. It's like 100, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
200, blah, blah, and I mean, we got some good laughs out of it, but it was way out of my comfort zone. So I felt like I saved the day a little bit. Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
did. That's really funny.
That's
That is a really good story. I don't think a lot of people have. That's kind of one of those examples of when you have a nightmare and you have to go on stage and you don't know what the script is or the song.
Yeah. I would like to say that just, standing up in front of any sort of group is courageous in general, just because that's not easy to do. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Also, going back to your personal story of really taking the leap and, starting a new job or deciding that, hey, this is going well, but it's not really hitting that point for me. That does take a lot of courage, especially because you said you had a daughter, and of course, any decision to move from a job that feels good to something else is always
security blanket.
Yeah, it's scary, but that's amazing that you took that leap, because ultimately it seems like it led you in a really great place where you can be so effective and you can do the programs and be who you want to be.
Absolutely.
Who you are. So that's very, very cool. I'm
Yeah.
I'm always so glad to hear when those
we owe it to ourselves to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And your daughter's lucky to have you and watch you do that. Can you share an example of a time you brought another woman into a leadership position or a project or a cause, and what did you learn about that experience?
Sure. So I mentioned before the young professionals and kind of with my Rotary involvement. I love being a Rotarian. I do a lot with the club. When I first joined, I was kind of brought on as a younger person, but also as a woman. Our club did not have a lot of women in it. I was by far probably the youngest person. So we really kind of connected my network there and tried to grow our club to bring in more women leadership and to also have that spark from the young professionals. So it was kind of a proud moment when I reflected, a year later, and we had a handful of younger women that had joined the club then since. And since then we've had, I think all of us have served as president or been involved in some leadership position on the club. And we have a really good blend right now in our club of women versus men. And until the 80s, essentially, women weren't even allowed really in Rotary. So that's something I'm pretty proud of as far as my volunteer side of things. But again, my team is in coaching is something that I'm really passionate about day to day. So anytime that I can help encourage another woman below me to even just see the potential. I'm sure you attended the Women's Leadership Conference last year. So, the whole imposter syndrome piece just really hit home so much for me. And, here at Nicolet, we had a nice follow-up meeting about that in general. And we all filled out, this worksheet and talked about ourselves and each other and really tried to pump each other up on how we can do better with that. Because I'm sure if every other woman who was nominated for these was asked, they would say, I can't believe that somebody nominated me and I'm humbled and I don't deserve it. Everybody else deserves it more than me. So I know I felt that, and I'm sure they all felt that too. But that's anytime that I can do that for somebody else, it's important to me. It fills my cup probably just as much.
I love that you're such an advocate for that. And from my personal experience of being able to meet so many of the nominees and talk with them, you're absolutely right. And so we have to remind ourselves also that, you are here for a reason and you deserve it. And so it's so wonderful that you're that voice and a strong voice for it.
Try to be.
Yeah. Can you share examples of how you serve others in our community? You've already shared a lot, actually. But if there's anything else you would like to share about how you serve others in the community?
Sure. Aside from my heavy, Rotary involvement, I've done a lot of youth softball coaching throughout the year for my daughter's team. Love that. So fun to hang out with the kids. I'm really excited. I just recently got approved to be a big.
Nice.
For Big Brothers Big Sisters. So they had done a presentation at the Rotary Club, and I took an application that day. I'm like, okay, well, I have to do that. So waiting to get matched up, but that's really exciting. I also am the head of our Nicolet Volunteer Committee, bank-wide. So Nicolet organization-wise, we have about 970 employees. So I do head the committee for the whole bank. Just make sure that we have enough volunteers throughout our whole footprint to make sure that we're doing enough in our communities locally. And Misty is also a part of that club with me. So we do a lot with that. Also, just my general committees and stuff that I serve on. I was on the Housing Authority board for a couple of years. I serve on the Police and Fire Commission for Merrill for about 7 years. I've been doing that. And I recently, something I'm really excited about, joined or was appointed to the board for REV. It's Rural Entrepreneurial Venture. It's a UW Extension program that we're kind of kicking off to really connect young entrepreneurs and startup businesses with resources to help them get off the ground and to really just kind of promote, Main Street concepts and building up the community. So that's a new one that I'm really pumped about, especially to see some of the women young women coming in that want to open a business because, my background, I have a lot of things I can connect them with for resources.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's no question that you're very busy.
Yeah.
And but I really appreciate everything that you've done and are doing for the community. And
Thank you. You as well.
Well, thank you. Yep. And it's because it's no small feat to really not only advocate and for certain causes and things, but also really commit your time that is very sacred as well to a lot of these causes. So that's really absolutely wonderful.
I think that people who do a lot of these types of service things, it really doesn't seem time consuming because it's something that's ingrained in you. So if you just have that as part of innately who you are, it doesn't seem like it's above and beyond, and it doesn't seem like it should even be celebrated necessarily because it's just what you do, right?
Yeah.
And I mentioned my grandparents earlier, that's just kind of what I got from them, is just, it feels right for me to do it. So the time commitment doesn't seem like a lot.
It's just a part of your life.
Just
something you do.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
it's just part of my schedule.
And I'm guessing that's probably something that you're passing down on to your daughter.
I really hope so.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure you are. I mean, the biggest thing is leading by example when it comes to the mindset and philanthropic giving of your time and all that. So that's really important to pass that down as well. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I think the main thing is just I appreciate the nomination and you guys coming and spending some time and seeing our brand new beautiful facility. But I just really have been focused, especially this year for myself, after the Women's Leadership Conference, and then I went to the one in Green Bay recently as well. But I saw a video at a meeting I was in Green Bay for this week that had a reminder of, we all have our own flame, right? And my flame is not going to burn any less brighter by lighting somebody else's candle. So I really try to do that, especially as a woman, woman to woman. How can I encourage other people? And even if it's a small compliment, it's a small reminder. We all have that fear that we're not good enough. So that's something I've really been trying to focus on. I encourage everybody to do the same.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to get to know you, and be here and learn about everything a lot of the things that you're doing. So thank you for everything.
Never feels like enough, right? Yeah. So, thank you.
Yep. I'll kick it back to Brian.
Great interview, Olivia and Nicole. Thank you. We're going to continue. We've got, I believe, just 2 more interviews with finalists to go this afternoon, and that will complete the full slate of 13 interviews with all 13 finalists. So watch the Chamber's Facebook page for that. If you missed any of the videos, you can watch them on the Chamber's YouTube channel or on that same Facebook page. And if you have interest in attending the actual awards program, which is a lot of fun, that'll be held on Thursday, November 21st at the Holiday Inn and Suites in Rothschild. And you can find registration information on that program on wausauchamber.com. Thanks again, and we will be back with another interview shortly.